I'm very excited to introduce you to Ashley Barnes. Ashley grew up just west of the St. Johns River in Clay County, and St. Augustine was always part of her life. She earned her undergraduate degree from Stetson University and her law degree from the University of Florida before continuing her studies abroad, earning a master's degree in law from Leiden University and a PhD in Australia. For the past 3.5 years, Ashley has served on the Planning and Zoning Board of St. Augustine, the city of St. Augustine, where she had a front row seat to how decisions are made for the city, what it does well, and what needs to be better. She has reviewed more than 500 applications from across the city. St. Augustine is a remarkable place, historic, beautiful, and deeply unique. But it is facing real challenges: affordability, infrastructure, growth, and mobility. Ashley is running for City Commission because she believes she is deeply invested in this community and believes St. Augustine needs leadership that listens and leads with vision. Please give it up for Ashley Barnes.
Thank you. I feel like, so first of all, I'm sorry that the others couldn't make it, so you're stuck with me. Sorry. And I don't know if I can top that. Let's try. Okay, I'll try. So hi, my name is Ashley Barnes. I've lived in Lincolnville for the past 14 years with my family. We came back after living and working abroad. We came back to raise a family. So professionally, I've worn a few hats: an attorney, a law professor, and since I've moved to St. Augustine, a small business owner and even an entrepreneur, all very different. So since I've been here, my businesses, or I've focused on businesses that are supporting schools and how they help students academically. And if you have questions, I'm sure you do, I would love to answer those. But first of all, thank you for everybody who came. I'm sorry that Matt's not here. I'm sorry that I forgot his name from District 6 is not here. So I'll try to put on a performance for you guys. But I'm really excited to be here, and thank you so much for having me. I think that part of the reason that I'm running, or what inspired, that's the question we always get: why are you running, right? So as a long-term resident, as a mom of 3 in our public schools, of 2 at Catalinas, 1 at Murray Middle School. I also want to know what school you're at, but I'll wait for later. And as a member of the Planning and Zoning Board, as Michelle's already said, right, I had a front row seat to what the city does well, but also some of the challenges that it faces. So on one hand, we all know why we love the city of St. Augustine, right? Why do we love it? We have these unique neighborhoods. We have these incredible local businesses. We have this history. And that coastline, it's not ugly, right? We love it. Those are some incredible opportunities, and it's why we love living here. But all of that exists in this tiny little area. So while it makes the quality of life incredible, it also puts incredible pressure, right? So we have, what do we have? Flooding. Or you guys could name it with me, right? We have flooding issues. We have infrastructure issues. We have historic preservation, right? We have mobility in a town that was designed when horse and carriages were the main mode of transport. Super exciting, but also complex. So as a law professor and as an attorney, I've learned how to handle complex issues. And oh my gosh, the amount of complex issues that I don't have to deal with as a city commissioner, wow, right? But I've learned how to deal with those. And then as an entrepreneur, I learned something different. I learned, and it's fairly basic, is that if I want to solve a problem, I have to go listen to the people experiencing that problem. Right? So you come up with ideas, you test them, and then you go back and listen. Right? You make adjustments and you go back and listen. And so we can improve by listening. So one of the things that I ask everybody, right? So I ask, yes, what are you concerned about? Right? So I can listen. But on the other hand, what I want to know is, how do you think that we can make not just the problems in front of our nose, right? But how can we make St. Augustine, I'm going to say it and you're not going to like it, but how can we make it wildly successful, right? What would wildly successful mobility look like? I'm going to say it and you're really not going to like it. What would wildly successful Night of Lights look like for residents? I have a thesis, right? So what for residents, because this is my thesis and you're not going to like it, is that I think that if we can make something like the Night of Lights or mobility successful for residents, tourists are going to be happier too. My name is Ashley. I know I'm supposed to talk a lot longer, but I'd love to talk to all of you. I'm running for City Commission seat number 4. I would actually really love your questions. I'm sure there are many. I will do my best. As I told my law students, I might have a JD, a PhD in the area, but I don't know everything, right? And part of your questions help me learn and help me listen. So thank you for having me. Please, I don't know if we'll do in the cards or how you want to. Please, 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 please. And I'll come back on stage. Did I spit on you guys? I'm sorry. All right. Since your race is nonpartisan, could you share what other candidates are in your race? Yes, of course. So I'm going to be in the primaries. Is there anybody in the city? Anybody? Yay. Okay, Jonathan, make sure they get cards. Just kidding. Please, everybody can donate, even if you can't vote. I'm supposed to ask for money, apparently. Please, give me your money. So the other candidates, so there is a person who was a committee member of the state GOP, right? So she's running, I think she followed immediately. She's lived in St. Augustine for, I'm not quite sure, but for a while. And then the other candidate that's running against me, her name, that's Co Robbins. The other person that's running against me is Cynthia. She has a double-barreled name. She owns your knowledge of her is as good as mine. Yes. So I have 2, so I'll be in the primaries. Does everybody know how the primary works for the city? No. Okay, so August 18th, for those of you who live in the city, you need to go out and vote, because what happens, 2 options, right? So all 3 of our names are on the ballot, right? So one of us can possibly take 51%, and then the race is done. Everybody cross an odd number of fingers. Yes, okay. The other option is that people with the candidates with the highest 2 scores, or percentage of the vote, goes to the election in November. Do I have any other? Oh, yay. I feel like, you're the issues, that's, all right. Do you believe in local parks? Oh, see, I wore my contacts and now they're not for reading, so hold on. Just kidding. Do you believe public local parks are being ignored? And is there any way to seriously utilize the train and expand residents of the island to eliminate, oh yes. All right, so where should I start? Do I believe the local parks are ignored? Who asked that question? Beautiful. Can you just give me quickly? So names. Perfect. So if you could just give me one. Speak to one.
Let's go for the one in the middle of town there where the slaves were. The plaza. Let's do that one. That's like one of the first things that people see when they
Yes.
come in here.
Yes.
It looks tired.
Yes.
It is not being kept up. It's
Yes.
proud of ourselves.
Yes. And that's
Then people will respect.
beautiful. So, okay. I don't think that the plaza is the ugliest, right? It's not the ugliest. So I'm going to talk about the ugliest. And So did anybody go to the Francis Field where they had the 3 different renderings? Did anyone go to that? Did you see it? Oh, so first of all, you'd be surprised. So I took my 14-year-old daughter and I was like, hey, Thea, come with me. Let's just see. Oh, I need to answer the second question. I want you to see, give your input. And did anyone else go to see it? No. It is incredible, right? So obviously businesses are worried about what's the big event? Sing Out Loud, right? So the architectural designs laid out the biggest events because there's a variety of, right, that happen there that are fun and exciting. But it is a great example of a dry, I would dare say, watch my language, crappy piece of real estate, right? And my kids go to Catalina, so they use it every year for a field day. So a beautiful opportunity, a huge chunk of land right in the middle. So the proposal is to make it into a park. And so on one side near Swing Park is going to be the carousel, right? And then there's lined trees all around it, because that's the other thing about Francis Field. You're just sitting in the heat and there's no trees. And that part is beautiful. So in terms of making a park, I know for myself, so what I know the city does a lot of things that I do not love. But the other part is that the things that I do know about that the city does love, I like to point it out. So for our neighborhood, not everybody loved it, but I did, is the Pocket Park in Lincolnville. It is beautiful, it is lovely, it is shaded. My kids love it, the dog loves it, mostly because the cat food that people lift out. I don't know why they do that, but so that's something. How is the money that we pay as residents or as taxpayer, how does that go into? Some of my questions relate to, okay, so if some of our public spaces are shabby, right, then I want to see, what is it? Is that a budget issue? Right, what's the budget? What's the shortfall? Is it personnel? Is it hard to hire, right? So those are some of my questions. And I think this is the face of the city. And we are concerned if the plaza looks like, excuse my language, crap, then what does it look like elsewhere? I think it's an important question. So the other one, and I put it down, the other one that was, is there a way to utilize, train, and expand the Star Bus? All right, so mobility. You want to talk about mobility. So I will say this. I think that what's the yellow, it's the Star Bus, right? The yellow bus. Oh, you're talking about the circulate. No, please. Yes. So this is what I meant to say. So yes, very familiar with the Star Bus. Who does the Star Bus serve? I would wager that the Sunshine Bus is more effective for our residents, and that is a very low bar. A very low bar. Right, so the discussions about the Star Bus relate to how can we move people throughout the city, the route that the Star Bus takes, and when it's available, who in the world would ever take this little tiny guy? So the question was, and this is my question, is why? And I'm going to try to keep my language under control. Why in the hockey sticks would they have a bus like that for that tiny, teeny, tiny little area? And some of it relates to accessibility, right? So for persons with disabilities, so that they can navigate from the parking garage to the areas downtown. Then the other part of it is this is a chicken or the egg, right? Do we force people out of their cars first, or do we provide parking and then they will get out of their cars because they parked over there, right? So this debate goes on, and we saw it on the PCB all the time. Do we need to have multiple parking garages throughout the city and then inspire people to not use cars? Or do we just need to rip the Band-Aid off because both bridges on the end are about to go and we're gonna force cars out? So if we're gonna say we need, and this is where the city has kind of gone, is that we need to provide these garages before we can really get at mobility. So what's the MVP, right? What's our minimal viable product that we can just to get things moving? And that's what came up with. So do I agree the chicken or the egg? I have very strong opinions about mobility. And I don't think that was the best idea, right? But I think that also when we're thinking about, okay, the city did this and it's super crappy. Yeah, of course. Are there trade-offs that we have to make? Are there reasons for the Star Bus that are valid and or invalid? Of course, right? Is it the best? So one of the other commissioners, he was like, why didn't we just do golf carts, right? Why didn't the city just do golf carts? That way, when you get out of the visitor center, then they could use that. It's more mobile. It's not just stuck to where the circular is. And obviously during the Night of Lights, or hearing things like Sing Out Loud, the Star Bus becomes actually more effective because it's got greater range. But in those instances, you also have more passengers. You never see anyone on the Star Bus. Never, ever, ever. And that's, yeah, it's mobility and it's super fun. Super fun. Please, please. Yes, all that.
I'm thinking of as relates to actual residents, okay? So
Oh.
they actually expanded the Star Bus during Nights of Light. So the people that were on the island, there were like 6 or 7, there were different stops
Yep.
that you could get on
Yep.
the Stars Bus and hop on and go, and you don't have to use your car to
Yep.
go over the Bridge of Lions.
Yes.
Why not have that, it's a free bus?
Yes.
Why not have it for the residents of St. Augustine? Why not you use that
Yes.
year-round, not just for that?
Yes.
We don't need any more parking garages. We don't need any more. We have lots of outlying areas, like commuter spots to park, and to have a Stars bus or something like that, what do they call it, a circulator type of a bus.
Yes.
For free.
Yes.
That would alleviate so much.
Absolutely.
And it's so simple.
It is.
Nobody does it. And
So-
the trains as well. We have the tracks. They're already.
Oh, so the light rail, yes. Yes, we can talk about that. So even better, during Sing Out Loud, it went from downtown all the way to the amphitheater. So we have teenagers in our neighborhood who, they didn't go to Sing Out Loud. They just rode the bus back and forth because it was free, right? They're not driving, they're renting. That's exciting. They get to go all the way to the island. So absolutely. However, in order to you have to have enough people on the bus to justify it. So the only time those numbers make sense is for those big events. So then the question becomes, the more, especially for residents, is how can we increase ridership outside of those big events? And that is, you should ask this an important question. So is that okay for me to? Okay, wrapping it up. I'm getting the hook, is it? The hook? Yes, please, please, please. Please.
There are a lot of people who live like on the island. I work in town.
Yeah.
I have to park at the end of the island and then walk across the bridge.
Yes.
And, and that's okay. But it would be so nice if that Star Bus, because I'd be
Yes.
on it every time.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
A lot of people have.
Yes. Well, and it's not fine. Like, so during the Night of Lights, Davis Shores became the parking lot, right? So for those residents, right? So it wasn't just Uptown that was being inundated with cars. It was also Davis Shores, right? So on one hand, we've got to figure out that parking in those areas and how to prevent it. But also, yes, it is exactly what we're hearing, right? So it's a circulator that would be really great is one that went from West King all the way to the amphitheater, right? Can you imagine the decongestant and regular?
Like, all the way to like, the beach.
Yes, yes. Yes, and you actually can get to the beach. Oh, one last one, please, please.
Sorry, I was trying to write out my card. I couldn't write fast enough, and I didn't want to miss what everybody else.
Yes.
So I teach at Wards Creek Elementary School.
Which one?
Wards Creek.
Okay, yes, yeah, yeah. Oh. Here, let's share.
I do have a teacher voice, but
Okay. In addition to being a special education teacher, I'm also a union member, and I'm, thank you. I'm on the bargaining team for our teachers union, and so it's always battle of the budget with the school district. One of the things, thank you so much, you guys, for the millage referendum, like from the bottom of all of our hearts. Like, you have no idea what that means to our teachers who are number 50 in pay in the United States for compensation. So thank you on that. So my question is about impact fees, because when I go to Night of Lights, or just see all the retail, everything in the building, everything happening in St. Johns County, the growth, we have like such an amazing economy, and our school district is facing disastrous budget cuts. It does not make sense. When I go downtown during Nights of Lights, I pretend, calculate. I'm really not good with budget, so pardon me. And I think about half cents. Like, where is this going? Why is my school up in World Village? Why are we sharing 30 laptops for every 5 teachers? Like, it doesn't make sense that not every child in our school district has access to a computer with this half-cent sales tax when you look at all the retail. I recently just started looking at impact fees, but I haven't read through everything. Maybe you can explain how that works, and I know recently it changed.
Yes. So first of all, I should say that obviously for the commission and how the school board, city commission versus school board is like outside of the things or my purview. So one of the things all the things that are in your purview is, whew, that's a lot of things to speak to. So if I understand your question, and I know that I have very little time, so you know what? Let's chat about this to make sure. I, in my position, would be addressing the question that you're actually getting at. I can talk about the bed tax. I can talk about how the different ways that the city is funding, and for example, right? So if there is actually a cut in what the homestead tax and what that means for both the city's budget and a little bit about the county's budget. But we can meet and chat. I know I am out of time. So you guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yes.